I found that I was pregnant, I felt like I couldn't tell anybody. So I felt like I didn't have a choice.
The love for that baby empowered her to make one of the most difficult decisions of her life.
I really wanted to be the best mom that I could be for her.
Just seeing his mom want to do the right thing for her baby, it just made my job feel like it was important.
Who am I but to do anything but give grace and offer hope to this young woman?
We're going to prove everybody wrong, that not every unplanned pregnancy is going to become a statistic.
We could use this part of us as our story and our journey to share with others. I was born and raised in Central Illinois, kind of the traditional all-American family. My dad was a farmer, or is a farmer, and my mom was a school teacher. I was actually born at Mayo Clinic, the Cancer Research Center. My biological father passed away when I was 2 days old, and when I was 2.5, my mom remarried my dad, Mark.
I was born and raised in Rockford, and interestingly, I was the surprise baby. So my journey kind of began as that as part of my story.
Well, I was raised in a small town, Sheboygan Falls, Wisconsin, population of 5,000 with my parents and 2 sisters. My dad owned a car business and my mom cared for the family.
Well, I grew up in Elgin, Illinois with my parents and my 2 older brothers. I didn't come to Rockford until I got married 6 years ago to my husband, John.
Well, I was the product of an unplanned pregnancy. My mom gave birth to me in Germany at a home for unwed moms. My dad didn't accept me, or he wouldn't acknowledge that I was his. So my mom came to the United States in 1963 with me, and she married my stepdad who adopted me.
In the middle of 5 kids, we grew up with a big family, lots of fun, lots of activity, lots of love. And I was born to 2 parents who are some of the most faithful Christians I've ever known. I was raised in sunny Southern California. My parents got married when my mom was very young, and when I was about 10, my sister was about 8, they sat us down on the couch and said basically that they were splitting up. Things were rough after that.
The main feeling was, don't do anything that would embarrass your family, namely getting pregnant. As many others in my generation, my parents were pretty silent on these topics.
Basically, my parents raised us to understand that sex was something that God had created, something special to be shared between a husband and his wife in marriage.
I would say my parents did the best they could in providing counsel around that, but my parents were also pretty honest and candid in conversations, and we did know that relationships and sex were a gift from God.
I was honestly too busy focusing on my grades and being involved in sports and anything like that to worry about having sex or what I should think about it or what I should do, and so it was never like a big topic in our home.
The only conversation I ever remember having with my mom about sex or about intimacy or anything like that was when I was 17 and thought I might be pregnant. That was the first conversation we ever had. And the second one was probably when I was 18 and told her I actually was. My then boyfriend and I found out we were pregnant when I was 18. We had known each other for a while, for a couple years, and had developed a pretty good friendship. But we had just started dating exclusively about 2 weeks before I actually got pregnant. It was hard. It was really, really hard, and it was very scary. I had just graduated high school, I had college plans, I had career goals. My mom raised both my sister and I to be extremely independent. I'm not sure where we were when I told my mom, but I remember sitting where exactly we were sitting with my dad, and his response, and I just remember he put his head in his hands and he just sobbed. My grandma had made a comment that kind of communicated she was ashamed of me. I had a friend ask me how stupid I could be. It was hard. It was really, really hard, but we wanted to prove family wrong and prove other people wrong, that really an unplanned pregnancy doesn't end in a statistic. Thankfully, my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, and just was there. Figured it out.
After I had majored in youth ministry and I was now working with high schoolers day in and day out, I found myself more than once sitting across the table from a high school young woman who was sharing with me that she was pregnant. And then I navigated that conversation with one of my youth leaders, and that was tough. Somebody that the youth really looked up to came and sat in my office one day and said, I made some not so good choices, and now I'm finding myself in this situation, and I'll step down. And the sense of compassion that swept over me, who am I but to do anything but give grace and offer hope to this young woman? And it was later that her mom came back to me and said, your reaction to her actually changed her life.
When I was 17 years old, I met a really handsome guy at a hardware store, and we started dating and just really fell in love, and we dated for several years, and I just got very focused and career driven and wanted the big title. Around Thanksgiving time, I noticed something about me. I noticed I wasn't feeling right. I didn't, but I also had just been promoted in my role at Disney and just thought, oh, it's maybe some stress. And then I realized it. I think I'm pregnant. So I remember calling him and saying, you need to come down. And so we flew down and we confirmed it. I mean, I took not one, but 4 pregnancy tests and just really thought I had everything in the world to lose. I came out into my apartment living room and I just sat down next to him and I said, I don't know everything. Like, I don't know how all this research stuff works or what, but I just kind of Googled some things and we can make this end right now. And I remember vividly him looking me in the eye and just saying, that's not an option. Part of the driven, maybe athletic background of me turned into a little bit of a high school coach pep talk to myself, and I said, you're right, I have to do this. Literally got on my knees and just prayed that God would lead us through it because we had to make some tough decisions. I remember telling my parents, my dad was in bed, I had flown in and I was he was in bed for the night, it was 11:30 at night and I was not about to sleep at my parents' house without telling them. And so Justin and I trudged in there and woke him up, and my mom was like, what is going on? And I definitely knew that they would have love, but I didn't know what shock would look like for them. I remember my dad jumping out of bed and just hugging us. And just really, God's grace poured on us at that moment because I knew that this wasn't how we wrote our story. Our journey wasn't exactly what we thought, but that we could use this part of us as our story and our journey to share with others.
I met Jim when I was in nursing school and fell in love, and about halfway through nursing school I found that I was pregnant. My mom, she had these big expectations for me to, be successful and not, make the mistake that she made. And when I found that I was pregnant, I felt like I couldn't tell anybody except for Jim. And so I felt like I didn't have a choice. But I didn't have anybody, and I figured that was the best thing to do because I was so disappointed in myself. So I went ahead and did what I thought I had to do and was able to put that away for a while. It seemed like a relief. But then later on, when we got married and I started having children, it came out again in my mind and in my heart especially. So I went through the post-abortion healing at that time, and then he closed the door again for a while. Obviously I had more healing to do and more growing to do as a Christian.
I basically walked away from the Lord when I was 18. I wanted to have a little bit more control over my life, which did not work out so well. I made some not good choices and found out that I was pregnant at the age of 20. I knew that I didn't want to marry her dad, so we talked about an adoption plan for our parenting option, but really decided that that wasn't what we wanted to do, so we did decide to parent together. And so I became a single mom at 21.
And being a parent is really hard. It's physically and emotionally exhausting, but being a single mom is so much more than that. Having my daughter really changed my life. It changed all my plans, all my desires, all my expectations. And I really wanted to be the best mom that I could be for her. And I knew I couldn't do that without Jesus, so I rededicated my life to Him and really focused on walking with Him and allowing Him to come alongside me in this experience and help me in every way possible. I'm 30 now. I graduated with a 9-month-old. I've worked steady since then, and I'm even married now to the best man that I could have ever hoped for. And so to be able to tell clients who come in, I literally walked in your shoes. I have done everything that you're scared about. But this is possible for you. It's gonna be really hard and it's gonna be challenging, but it is possible. And to be able to see the hope come into her eyes is really why I'm here.
Unplanned pregnancy touched my life many years later as my own children were growing up, and a family friend in her early teens became pregnant, and she managed to hide the pregnancy until the last week and a half, and then her secret was revealed, and the shock rippled out through her church and her private school and her friends and family, and sadly many of her friends and family pulled away from her, but the Lord really encouraged me to move in and actively support her during this difficult season of her life. And I had the opportunity to witness brave love in action. The love for that baby empowered her to make one of the most difficult decisions of her life, and that was to make an adoption plan for her baby.
When a client came in with her 4-week-old baby, and she wanted to get information on placing him in an adoptive family, just seeing his mom want to do the right thing for her baby and how hard that must be for her just really touched me, and how strong she has to be to do this for her son and for herself. That was hard because I'm a mother and I can't imagine doing that. And so coming here and getting education on that and being supported, it just made my job feel like it was important, and this is why we're here, and we're here to help and offer hope for these women who don't feel like they can do it on their own. And I'm just glad to be a part of it.
I'm really passionate about not shaming or judging people that have not made good decisions, because I've not made good decisions. And all of us have some piece of brokenness. And so that's really what drew me here to the Pregnancy Care Center. And it's the desire to walk alongside people when they're scared and they're confused and they feel backed into a corner like they don't have any options, and to say, yeah, you do have options, and we're here to walk alongside you.
I mean, I really have to stop and think about how different my life would have been if I had not heard just the words, "that's not an option." That played a big part into coming on staff here. The Pregnancy Care Center has always been something that's been close to us. I don't know what decisions would have happened, or if I would have been doing this on my own if I didn't have the support.
It took about a year and a half for God to really say, that's where you need to be. I could understand and relate to that moment of panic.
I really feel that the center is so important, because if, like I said, if I had had a place to come to like this, I know I would have made a different choice. I just need some support.
They're really caught up in a lot of fear, and they really feel like their only option is to do abortion. And we do have clients who will come in feeling that way at the beginning of their session, but then when they leave, they say, there's no way I could have an abortion. I'm going to carry my baby.
And lately, we hear those stories every single day. There's almost not a day goes by anymore that we don't see some kind of change shift inside of a woman who walks through our doors.
If I could tell our donors one thing about being involved at the Pregnancy Care Center, it would just be every penny counts. Clients are choosing life and transforming themselves and their lives because of people like you. And it's just an awesome ministry to be a part of, and it's a great place to work, and we couldn't do it without you.
I want to thank you as donors and as partners for investing not only in this team of women who have each walked their own journey for partnering with our clients who, for the first time in their life, are feeling love and support and hope, but for saving lives and for changing lives, because that's what you're doing when you partner with us. So thank you, and we pray that it's a long, beautiful partnership and that we continue to see lives saved and changed.